Hi, this is Cam White with Total Relief Footwear in Austin, Texas, and we're going to talk about safety shoes today. A couple of years ago, I was at the National Safety Council conference in Chicago, and I was looking to solve a problem for our customers that have to wear safety shoes. A lot of them complain that their shoes are too stiff, too tight, they take forever to break in, and a lot of them are walking with problems like heel pain, shin splints, problems like that, on top of the fact that their shoes are uncomfortable. So orthotics can solve a lot of foot problems, but the problem was that when I went to visit a lot of safety shoe companies, by the time I got my orthotic inside of the boot was way too tight and uncomfortable and it just didn't work. And then I finally came across a company called COFRA, and I tried on their boots and I put my orthotic in there. It slipped on just easily and it felt great. I didn't even know I was wearing a safety boot, and that's where I met Grant Maloney. Grant's with COFRA, and he's going to tell you a little bit about COFRA boots.
Well, COFRA is an Italian boot manufacturer. They produce quality safety shoes. They've been producing safety shoes since 1938, and as a matter of fact, they're Europe's leading producer of safety shoes. Some of the reasons why these shoes are so good is not only the quality leathers and materials that go into the boots, but it's the technology that goes into the shoes. They try to make the safest shoe possible using the most modern technology. I'll show you a little bit of that. Here's an example of some of the technology that's in a COFRA shoe. First of all, the outsole on the shoes will stand 572 degrees Fahrenheit, so incredibly high heat resistant shoes. And it's abrasion resistant, and it's also chemical resistant for all sorts of acids, petrochemicals, and everything because of the different types of rubber that we use in the shoe. Also, this outsole is actually injection molded onto the bottom of the shoe. You'll notice a lot of the normal work shoes that people buy, they have stitching, and the outsole is actually stitched onto the bottom of the shoe. The difference in a COFRA shoe, as you can see, there are no stitches. This is injection molded onto the bottom of the shoe. So we don't have the problems with the toe separation that a lot of the other shoes have. When the outsole is attached onto the shoe, it stays there. Also, on the inside of the shoe, and this is the number one feature that people like in a COFRA. This is why people buy a COFRA. We have this on the inside of the shoe. This piece of fabric, incredibly lightweight and flexible. This is actually a puncture-resistant textile. We call it an APT plate. This is designed to keep a nail or wire, cable, whatever you're working with, from coming through the shoe and stabbing you in the foot. It's a puncture-resistant shoe. You can see this is attached on the inside of the shoe, and when a nail or something attempts to come through, the APT plate stops it. Also, we have this nice gel insole on the inside of the shoe that's easily removable and replaced with an orthotic. So you can have this shoe custom made to fit your foot. So they're incredibly comfortable. There's more room on them on the inside than a normal work shoe, and they're puncture resistant and high heat resistant. Not only that, we have a composite toe cap on them. Now, the benefits of a composite toe cap over a traditional steel toe: a composite toe cap is made out of a high density polycarbonate, a high density polycarbonate. So not only can it stand more weight than a traditional steel toe, but when something does crush it and you lift the object off, it's able to pop back up into shape. So it doesn't crush your toe on the inside. Now, we're also able to put this silicone ring on the outside of that toe cap. And now that's solely for comfort, because as anyone who wears a safety toe shoe knows, your toe is constantly rubbing all day long against that steel toe, and it rubs along the top whenever you bend your foot. Well, this silicone ring on the outside makes it comfortable. It makes it so that you're not constantly rubbing on that hard edge. So that's some of the technology that goes into a COFRA shoe.
And then the other nice thing is that you have a wide variety of boots for different occupations. So what would this boot be good for?
This one is a completely polyurethane boot. This is good for heavy acids, heavy petrochemicals, or stuff that you might be wading in. This one is called the Sheffield. This one is completely lined with a Kevlar sock, good for people working in glass, people working in waste management. This one is a high heat resistant shoe for people working in asphalt.
And then this one here is great for welders. The neat thing about these shoes is that if you do get a piece of slag in or on the outside or inside the boot, there's a little grenade pin here. The whole boot explodes open and you can get your foot out.
Right.
So the thing that I really like about these shoes is they're light, they break in easily, there's no break-in period, they accept orthotics, and if you step on a nail or a sharp object, you're not going to go to the emergency room to have that wound cleaned out and risk infection or damage to your foot. COFRA's are great shoes, and we're going to talk about some of the specialty brands in some other videos, but you know, when you try these shoes on, it's going to change your life if you have to wear this type of shoe. This is Cam White and Grant Maloney. I'm with Total Relief Footwear, and you can find more information at totalrelieffootwear.com.